There's going to be a race issue until people don't notice it anymore.
So if you say that you're colorblind, does that mean that you don't recognize me, that I don't exist?
I'm Elizabeth Wilson. I grew up in New Orleans, went to Newman, and I'm 65 years old.
My name is Ivory Jones. I am 35 and I grew up in New Orleans.
My name is Manita Thomas. I am 47 years old. I was born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and raised in Little Rock, Arkansas.
My name is Diane Hatch. I'm 40 plus, and I grew up in the New Orleans area.
My name is Michael Reamer. I am 70 years old. And I grew up in New Orleans.
My name is Will Milvid. I'm 17 and I grew up in New Orleans.
My name is Jay Tyler. How old am I? I'm 17. We're in New Orleans. I grew up in New Orleans.
When I was growing up, the schools and the community, the buses, everything was segregated. White and black. Black sat in balconies in churches and in theaters.
Even though I grew up with a nanny and a maid in the house and a gardener, my parents always made sure that I understood I had to respect them as I would any other person.
I remember I'd ask my mom, why do they have for whites only on the little water fountain or whatever, and we were allowed to play at one end of the park as opposed to the entire park.
I used to take the public bus to high school, and it was segregated and didn't really think much of it.
I guess our neighborhoods were pretty segregated. Our neighborhood was predominantly black. My mother grew up in a predominantly black neighborhood.
My mom worked as a babysitter and a caregiver or whatever, so we were pretty good with it because the kids would come home with me and I would go to their house or whatever, so we were pretty cool with new people of other races.
I loved playing with my maid's children, and we played just as if we were all the same color. There was no difference.
My family never really talked about race.
Majority of my interaction with people of other races took place at school.
I had both African American friends and white friends, but I kind of felt like the kids of color there were treated a little bit different.
To be honest, they had the upper hand type thing because we were definitely at a disadvantage.
Yes, my parents have talked to me about race issues. They think that equality is pretty much impossible and that there's a lot of overcompensation.
But yeah, I've talked to my parents about it. They don't. It's not like they dislike white people. I mean, my dad and my mom have tons of white friends, but they always tell me, always be careful.
Newman and uptown New Orleans seems to be a pretty race-free community. It doesn't seem like there are many outstanding racial issues in this community. So,
yes, I believe that they've improved immensely because when I was a child, the race relations were strained.
I like to think that I'm an open person, that I'm free of any kind of racism, but I'm sure that's not true. I'm sure that, if I'm walking down the street and it's late at night and, three black men are walking down the street or something, I might be a little bit more afraid inside than if there were three white men. And I'm ashamed to say that, but that's probably, that's probably how I would honestly feel.
On the surface, it's made it seem like there's been a change, but
I'd say they've improved, not solved whatsoever. I mean,
I think that they think that things are good, but I think that things are not good. Who do the brown boys in upper school identify with? Are there any male teachers in upper school that look like them? No. In lower school, who does my little brown boy in this class identify with? If he's the only kid of color in this class.
And so many of the people of color at Newman are in support positions.
And so if we can't have those uncomfortable conversations, how can we move forward?